say congrats on that. Do I need to say all that over again?
No, no, you're well,
No.
you can just say
Con
congratulations for being.
Congratulations, all right, for being here. You did great. Um, I'm especially excited for you to work with Patty. And this is something that Patty has a passion to do. This is not something that Patty has to do. The program was around for many years prior to last year, and then last year we brought it back. There's a little bit of a gap in there, and we're very excited to bring it back. And what I can say about Patty is that her attention to detail, her organization, her professionalism. There's very few times I either call or text Patty and I don't hear back. And it's not because it's at the beck and call. It's a matter of respect. Like, hey, when there is something to do, Patty's going to show up the right way and do it. And we can trust that. So through our national headquarters, through our corporate headquarters, we really trust Patty as a partner. So when you're going through these calls, please remember that this is not a have to, this is the get to. And I know you've probably heard things like that before. And when you're coming to these calls, it's getting yourself right in the right mindset, and jumping on. It's oh, I got to get to this call. It's something I have to do every week versus, man, I get to do this. I get to build my business. Patty's desire to help our field is admirable. And there's a lot of people that go through our business and then go on to help other people. And Patty went through our business and now come back to help our business. And I just really appreciate all that she does. Her background within the business, she has accolades upon accolades, and of course, I can review some of those with you just to know that yeah, she's the real deal. Um, I want to talk about P Banquet before I do that, just to make sure everyone's on the same page of what President's Banquet is. President's Banquet is a payoff for the campaign three new business sales. Achieving $100,000 in new business. This contest starts Tuesday, September 2nd, which is the start of campaign three, and it ends right after Christmas, end of campaign three, and it's $100,000 in new business tabs. It's President's Banquet is probably the most elaborate contest that we have. It is not a meeting. There is no summit. We fly you into Las Vegas. We pick you up in a black town car. Sometimes it's a Beamer, sometimes it's a Mercedes, sometimes it's a Lincoln, sometimes it's an Escalade. I know Drew Frank got an Escalade a couple of years ago. He's like, man, I got an Escalade all to myself. Like, it just you begin the pampering right off the bat. We bring you to one of the top resorts in Vegas. And that's not my opinion, that's fact. You call around, you ask, hey, where's a premier place to go? And it's the Encore Win. And the event for P Banquet, you start off with an intro, welcome in. That day is at your choice. You can go to the spa, you can do casinos, you can walk up and down the strip. That date specifically for the payoff now is going to be in February, and we'll fly you in February 17th is your arrival day, and that's kind of at your leisure. That evening, we have a reception for everyone. Food, drink, wine, dine. It's cocktail dresses and you get to dress up a little bit. It's Vegas. And then that night is yours. Some people go to a show, some people stay and gamble, some people walk around. The 18th is a pretty special day. That's where we have two choices. We have one choice where we can take golfers to a premier golf spot and we golf 18 holes, typically with a caddy. So if you're a golfer and you like to golf, you're going to go to one of the best spots in Vegas. Sometimes you go on the strip, sometimes you go outside the strip. We travel about 30 minutes and do that with a caddy, with a foursome. We've got about 20 people that go, and there's some contests, couple of cash contests, a little smack talk with some golf. If you're more of like, hey, I want to go to our spa, it's a world class spa, and we'll offer a 50-minute massage. There's typically an enhancement of seaweed. I know that doesn't sound too appealing, but apparently it's a really good thing. A little stone scrub. And you get access to the spa the entire day. And so we have two options for people to pick. That's totally inclusive, and that's the choice you get to make. That evening is President's Banquet dinner. That's where we go with formal gowns, tuxedos. We got our pictures with the president. We take a massive group picture. And then everywhere for this dinner, we do something typically different. Last year we went to Delilah. There was a song and dance. There was a show going on. It's one of the most exclusive spots in Vegas, and there's talk of potentially going back there. There's restaurants that are constantly opening up. We go, we have a Dom Perignon toast, we hang out, we socialize, we talk, and we enjoy and celebrate. And then you get on a flight that Thursday morning and fly home. So it is literally a less than 72-hour shot in the arm. You're wondering, well, why do we do all this? It's because President's Banquet has been a running contest in our business for decades, and we want to recommend or we want to reward those who work hard in the fall. So again, that all takes place starting Tuesday. Campaign 3, day 1 is Tuesday, September 2nd. 100,000 hours in new business. All right, that's the background of President's Banquet. We'll, of course, as you go, standings will come out. We'll let you know further when you qualify for it, and kind of more toward the later part of the fall. But that's the backdrop for President's Banquet. Uh, Directing the reason of why we're on the call now, it's to talk with Patty, to learn from Patty, to interact with each other. Patty was I'm just a top DM back when we worked together simultaneously and separately in different regions. 2005 top DM. I'm sorry, started off as a DM, top new DM. 2005, 2008, Patty would say, I was figuring things out. It was my first couple of years. I think I'm going to get this business. She worked under Drew Frank in the Southwest region in that area. So she's like, she knew of success in it. And then all of a sudden, 2008, she's like, wow, I got it. Boom, $500,000 summer in 2008. That fall, Patty went on to sell $313,000 in Cutco in the fall. And that's not a smidge number. $313,000 in the fall. So I say Patty did a pretty good job of figuring it out. Um, she'd already won, P Banquet, I think like a couple of weeks into it. So she's like, well, what else do I go for? Well, how about you go for some record breakers? How about you develop some people? What I love about Patty is that she's not in this business for the thrills of payoffs. And I think that if you're on this call, the objective of to be on this call is not to go to P Banquet. I'll say that again. Even though how elaborate it was, the objective of the call would not to be, I'm going on these calls to go to P Banquet. The objective from a business standpoint would be, I'm on these calls to learn how to run a successful business, to learn how to be an entrepreneur, to learn how to run a really effective program through systems, how to duplicate it, how to produce results, how to create other people underneath me. And if I win President's Banquet, awesome. I get to go to this elaborate 2-day event. But even if you don't win President's Banquet and you follow through these calls, you will be better off. She was brought up under Lloyd Rangan and Drew Frank, like I had said, and Patty really became the go-to person in the region of how to become a district manager, how to really do the right things. I asked Patty, like, hey, what are some of your keys to success? I always loving top people that, and some people give you these like massive systems and all these intriguing things, and like they're creative, they're clever. Patty's like, no one outworked me on campus. I went to where I could control recruits. And I thought that was really cool because she goes to a place where it's not passive, it's active. I was like, well, walk me through your schedule. She's like, well, on the fall between 6 a.m. and 1 p.m., no one outworked me. And with a $313,000 fall, you tend to believe that, hey, maybe nobody's going to outwork Patty with that. Let's say that I don't have the campus activity where I can go on there for 5 hours at a time. That's totally fine. What can you do with it? Bringing energy to the team, camaraderie. In the fall time, 30 plus team meetings. She had a lot of fun. I know some of you do this, or most of you may do it. Theme meetings, right? Had really fun teen night outs. Her objective, though, to grow her business to the next level, she really put focus on developing managers. So, on an average, developing between 4 to 5 DMs per year, and created a large district team. And it's cool because there's nothing changing from 15 years ago to today. It's like, let's develop a large team, but it's not just to have a big team, it's to develop people to go along with you. And it's like, are you pushing people along with you? Are you pulling people along? Or are you just reaching out your hand saying, come with me? And Patty can teach you how to do that. She really emphasized, I run a year-round business. Now, here's the cool part. Ready? Patty's not walking around with a Rolex. She's not a 10-time $1 million shipper. Patty actually never hit $1 million within a year. And I'm letting you know this, that sometimes we get fixated on accolades. And she did hit Hall of Fame, which is a career milestone in 2013, has developed numerous people along the way. Some of you may know the current manager, Nick Matlack, one of the top managers right now as far as 2025, has been for a few years in running. And just developing people underneath you may not get the reports, but boy, when you look at your legacy defined by the people underneath you that are not only following you, but kind of doing what you taught them. Patty's slogan And another question I asked, like, hey, consistency is the key. So take what you want from that with consistency, and Patty can probably walk you through a little bit more of what consistency, where to be consistent, but ideally it's being consistent. Okay, I was like, Patty, give me some accolades. What are some cool things you want to brag about? 17 FSMs, 13 branch managers, and roughly 7 district managers throughout the time of being a district manager. With all that stuff being said, I know that Patty's going to do the right thing. And I know the way that you're showing up today, it's the first call. There's a lot of excitement. It's kind of like the prelude and the pregame. Just know that with every pregame, there's no defense. And once the game starts, September 2nd, defense is going to be there. Natural occurrences are going to happen. Positive, fun, and not so fun and negative things happen. And it's how you respond to it, right? It's no different from running a business in the summertime. It's just a little bit more focused and concentrated in the fall. I think of the fall time. Think of baseball, right? Going into fall time with playoffs. In baseball, there's 162 games, and you think that any baseball team is a shoe-in to win 60 games. Like you could sneeze as a professional baseball team and win 60 games, with the exception of a few teams out there. We're not going to talk about those teams. But to get to 100 games is where you want to be at. So thinking of like in the fall time, if you win 100 games in baseball, you're going to make playoffs. You're going to be one of the top premier teams in the MLB. I think of the same exact example of P Banquet, that everyone here, you're pretty much a shoe-in to get between 40, 50,000, $55,000 in new business just by doing the normal things. But it's that extra 40, it's that extra 45. Not that you want to just set to 100K, but to get to that 100K, it's going to take a lot more focus, a lot more energy, a lot more consistency, and that's what these calls are for. So I have nothing but appreciation for Patty. I have nothing but excitement for all of you on this call. I will pop in time to time. I'll pop in a few weeks and kind of give some standings, and I can answer any questions specifically on P Banquet. But for the time being, thank you for the first 15 minutes of the call. I appreciate you, even if I haven't met some of you. Thank you for what you've done to get to here. You've obviously done something for your manager to see potential. Thank you for what you're currently doing. You're showing up on time. You're dressed for success. You got notebooks out, assuming that right. And then thank you, of course, going into this fall. We haven't really started even the fall yet, so I thank you in advance for what you're going to do. So, with that being said, Patty, I turn the call back over to you. Of course, I can have any questions. Any questions, of course, that you need to answer. I see Sebastian saying, "Go Red Dragons." Now, is that a coincidence, or is that because I was a SUNY Cortland grad?
Because you were a SUNY Cortland grad.
Classic. So I was a small little state school, the Red Dragons. Yes, nice shout out, Sebastian. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Um, there's everybody's faces. I love it. So, is there anything that Patty you'd like to ask, or any clarifications, anything that I would like to add in extra before I turn back over to you?
The only thing I just want to say is John works for the national team. If you missed that part, so he works with national. He helps put together all the national events. He helps put together President's Banquet, and he was a great district manager himself for over a decade. So yeah. So the fact that you get to have two people with a lot of experience, especially with John popping in, I just want to say thank you so much, John, for all your support. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to have a national person working in the national office being able to help us out here as well. So that's all I have to say. Is thanks so much for.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I put my contact info in there. So I will be running President's Banquet this year. I'll be the person to send out the standings. I have a staff of people as well that will help out, like our team, but I'll be the one putting together the contracts, emailing people out, and kind of along the way. So if you do have questions, I've given you my email, and I've also given you my cell phone. So shoot me a text, let me know what your name is, and that way I can keep you in my phone. If there's anything that I can do, or if you're looking for some insights or some direction, or even just have a question on it, feel free to hit me up. Like I said, very nice to see everyone. Hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.
All right, we're gonna give John a one snap, like in the camera on three. You think we could do this like coordinated? Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh, that was a little off, but we'll get it. We'll get it
I
together.
felt I felt really good though. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you so much, John. Everyone say bye. All right. So you can stay on if you want. I'm not kicking you off. But anyway, well, hello, everybody. I know a lot of people on this call, and I don't know very many people on this. Like, it's a good mix of people who I know and who I'm going to get to know. So first off, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for being on camera. Like, I feel like I have to take a selfie right now because this is like the best meeting with all camera. All right, everybody, we're gonna do a screenshot. You guys ready? So yeah, what is happening right now? Or we'll do this with my actual phone since I can't get my act together. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, we'll take a couple other pictures too, since we might not be able to see each other in person. But anyway, so I'm Patty. Nice to meet you all, and welcome. I love this group already because there's just different energies, right? Just like you've had training classes with different energies, and sometimes you have that training class that you just have to pull teeth to get any interaction with. You know what I'm talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, just give me like a little wave, like, yeah. And then you have those magical training classes that everything just kind of comes together and you get like you get the little chills. That's what I'm getting from you guys. Like, I love the fact that I had to ask once for introductions and you guys are just flooding the WhatsApp. And by the way, if you haven't put your introduction in yet, that's your cue to do it right now or after this call. But anyway, I love the fact that you guys have already started participating and just like put yourself into this. So, all right. So you might be like, all right, well, John said some great things about her. Some of you know me because I coach you like on your finances. But one of the things that I love about this program is I created this back in 2016. I had like a 5-person PB group that I just kind of wanted to see what it would be like. It was like a test group. And ultimately, the next year it grew to a little bit more. And then, so that was 2015. 2016, it grew a little bit more. 2017, the DVMs heard about this group and every DVM wanted their people on it. And so then we had to grow it to like every DVM gets one person from their division that they can nominate. And we had to make a rule last year because there are some divisions like Stacey Campbell that has so many people. He's like, hey, can we have like 2 divisions here? Can we have 2 people? And we're like, all right, that's fine. So what's really exciting is that your division managers and your region managers have been able to see the fruits of this program. And that's why they were so excited. I don't know, did any of you have your DVM or region manager say like, hey, you definitely better take advantage of this? Or did any of them tell, okay, great. Well, that's that's good to hear. Well, hey, I told you I'm a nerd, and I'm going to show you how big of a nerd I am because I have a little PowerPoint for you. I'm going to do an introduction of myself, just my Cutco story, just so you guys know where I'm coming from, and I have some fun pictures here too. So but by the way, for those of you who win, which I hope this whole group does, we're going to talk about that here momentarily. This was our biggest group, our biggest winning group. We had 11 winners. That was over half of the people attending President's Banquet from this group. So that was pretty exciting. Some of you might even recognize some faces in there. We got Andy, Scotty, Jason, Ryan. So anyway, but welcome to PBPB 25. So to give you just a little background about myself, so I'm going to really date myself here, and you all can see my PowerPoint, right? I'm not like showing you like okay, perfect. So I started back in 2002. Now, some of you were like 1 or like being born at that time, but or in elementary school or something. But one of the people that John didn't mention, who was a big person in my upbringing in Cutco, was Earl Kelly. So Earl Kelly was like my stand-in division manager because right when I went district, my division manager dropped off. His name was Ramon Rouse, but he decided to move on. So Earl Kelly at the time was working with the Southwest region and he stepped in as my division manager. So I had Drew, Earl Kelly, and Lloyd Reagan helping me. So, I mean, with that kind of power. I ran the Albuquerque office. This was our squad at SCE1. We drove from Albuquerque to Denver with this many people. That was a 6-hour drive. Our theme here was Black and Yellow. That was the song back in the day. So with Black and Yellow, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's all good. But for a decade, I worked with Drew Frank. This was us back in Olean of 2008. We call it our engagement picture. It's our first original engagement picture. But I worked alongside Drew Frank for my 10 years as a DM and helped win a lot of silver cups with the division, not only for Rocky Mountain Division, but also the Elite Eight. But in 2015, in 2014, I met the man of my dreams. I realized it was the man of my dreams. We got married pretty quickly. I got married in 2015. He was living in the Virgin Islands. I was running an office in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like Breaking Bad 505. And so he was like, hey, do you want to come live in the Virgin Islands or do you want me to come move to Albuquerque? So at that point, I had already hit the Hall of Fame, sold 13 million. And I was like, living on a island sounds pretty fun. So I shut my office down and moved to the Virgin Islands. Back in that day, back in 2015, it was either you ran a physical office or you didn't. So I hung up my hat as a DM. And now I have my beautiful family and I'm using skills for life, right? So I'm a full-time mom, but I currently now still work for the Rocky Mountain Division with Drew as a consultant and help with the Fair and Show team. I also am a rising stock coach. So some of you might be coached by Kaval or Adam, and some of you coach with me, and this is Adam Stock, the owner. And then I'm also an Enneagram coach. So I coach a lot of different people. But you say, okay, that's great. So you had a great Cutco history. You were a DM for 10 years. What makes you qualified to run this group? Well, just to give you a little comparison. Now, some of you might have had the summer of your dreams. You might have had a summer that was okay. Then you might have had a summer that you were really disappointed in. Regardless, let me just show you a little something. In fall of 2007, again, some of you were like toddlers or in elementary school, but that's okay. I recruited 52 people in fall of 2007. In September, there was 22 people. It was 8 newspaper, 3 web. We used to do newspaper back then. 10 of them were campus and 1 PR. And I had a $56,000 campaign. Now I'll tell you, out of the standings in the Southwest region, I was like in the bottom 5. At that point, with $56,000 campaign, I was paying a office of about $1,700. I was paying 2 receptionists because we didn't have text to schedule. So you actually had somebody answering the phones and you had to have a receptionist. So I'll tell you, I was struggling and things were looking pretty bleak. I was not thinking, I was just trying to survive, honestly, at this point, because with the amount of expenses that we had, especially back then, because we paid way more than what you guys pay for text to schedule for full receptionist coverage. This fall was really, really hard. And I remember thinking at the end of this fall, I'm going to give you a couple of keys of what I did, and I'm going to give you an assignment. Yes, you have a couple of assignments at the end of each of these. But one of the things I did that I'm going to talk about later helped me focus on what happened next. So then fall of 2008. So 1 year later, I recruited 158 for the fall. In September, it was 83 people. Now, you see my newspaper did go up, like it doubled. And my web definitely over doubled. But what was more important is my campus shot up and my PRs definitely, I don't even, Lindley would tell me what the mathematical word for that is, but it skyrocketed, right? So already you could just see just by this, I was taking more control of my business rather than just kind of having my toe in. We sold $100,000 in September. Now I'll tell you, by the time I went to SLC, I had already hit President's Banquet. That was one of the coolest feelings that I ever had in my Cutco career, because I remember we all sat down at SLC, every manager in the entire company, for those of you who have never been there, And the first announcement they make is they're like, is Patty Breton, by the way, that was my maiden name. That's why it's PBPB and not PJ. They're like, can you stand up? Like, this person just hit President's Banquet. And I remember just like, everybody's like, whoa, and I was like, so we sold 313 for the campaign. 254,000 new business, and I was able to earn one of these, record breaker. So that was pretty cool. So there's the evidence in case you think I'm joshing you. And so this was my first President's Banquet. That was my second at President's Banquet, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So this is a winning formula I kind of figured out. Right from, and I won 6 out of 7 years. I missed 1 year by $1,500 because we had a damn problem order that I didn't fix. So you guys all know what kind of crap that is. But anyway, so 6 out of 7 times. At one time I did, 98,900 or whatever it was. So I'll tell you what, this is I definitely feel like I've done the fall well. I've done the fall terribly. And I've been able to kind of identify what were some of the key things for me to have a really great fall. And so what's really neat is that I found that this group not only obviously helps you get on track to be able to win P Banquet, and just to give a shout out to my Hall of Famers, and I hope to put a lot of names on here too. You might recognize some of these names. So these are the people who went through the program and ended up winning. So these were the winners from last year. And I hope to add the most that we've ever had in 1 year, like I said, was 11. My goal this year is to have way more than that. And I think that this magical group can be able to make that happen. So with all that being said, this group will allow you to do 2 things. One, obviously help you hit President's Banquet, but even win or lose, this will allow you to have so much momentum going into next spring and the summer. So I have people from last year who are still texting me that were part of the group that had their best spring ever because of the momentum they had from the fall. So this can transform your business. And I know that because I've had veteran managers on here that were they were in the business for years and never hit President's Banquet, went through this and hit it. So, all right. So this is first day of training. So we're going to talk about some expectations of me. Anyone can guess what happens next? Anyone?
Expectations of us.
Oh, good job, Lindley. Thank you so much. Yes, expectations of you and expectations of the program, right? So let me start off with me, right? That I'm pretty sure we all kind of have the same training manual. So you guys get so here's the expectations you can have of me. Every year, I want to get better. I want to improve. So you are actually getting the best version of this program. So yay for you guys. But I'm going to come prepared and excited to every single call because I want to make this group awesome. I want to make this group a company standard. And I want to have a squad at this P Banquet. I want you guys to, A, remember to take a picture, and B, I want you to take a picture at P Banquet that you can send me that I can just feel so much pride and excitement for y'all. So I'm going to constantly accommodate my style for these calls for what works best. I just want to also let you know I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share a lot about my history and my feelings. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not usually that type of person. I'm pretty blunt and sometimes a little too much. But I just will let you know I am a full-time mom. I'm coaching 70 plus people outside this group. So I want to hold each of you accountable and I want to get back to each of you, but just know that it might take me a little bit. I will respond. I just might not be like right on top of responding to you when you text me or reach out to me, but I will always be there for you. But ultimately, I want to be a tough coach because I'm going to expect excellence out of you. And I not only want this for you, but I'm putting myself out there too. I'm putting my reputation, my coaching on the line because everybody in the company knows about this program. So I want it to do great, right? Because everybody's watching. So I also just want you to expect the best out of me. Okay, so what to expect from the program? All right, here we go. This program isn't magic. Just because you're part of this group doesn't mean you're automatically going to win President's Banquet. So I will tell you in 2008, when I had that $313,000 fall, I wasn't focused on the results. I wasn't trying to beat a record. I the pain of 2007 hurt so bad that I was willing to work my butt off and kind of figure things out in the meantime. So what you can expect from this program is one, I'm going to probably review things you may or may not know. Two, you're going to have accountability from me and from the group to get action done. Like I'll give some recognition and shout out in the group for people who are completing actions. Third is a sharing of ideas of what's working in real time. So almost every single group, I don't think we might have time for it today, but I'll split you guys up so you're in smaller groups so you can meet each other. You can talk about what's happening in real time. You can be able to discuss like what's working in your business so you can be able to learn from each other. Because what I love about this group is that it's across the entire country. And we so often get like in our little cliques of our division or our region, and we don't like cross region lines. But what's awesome is that every region has something great going on that they're not sharing with other regions. So here you're going to be able to get the goods, especially when you talk with people in those small groups that I'll break you up into. I also love this group because how many of you, this will be your first SLC in October by show of hands? Oh, wow. Look at all those hands. So for your first SLC and those of you who've been to SLC before, you can be able to agree with me that your first SLC can be a little awkward, a little overwhelming because you like don't know anybody. You just know your division. And so you're like, hey, but what's cool is like, you're going to get to know these people. And so you're going to have like, you're going to be able to go give somebody a hug on this call and be like, hey, so great to meet you in person. And so that will make you feel really good and much more comfortable SLC, and it will be really exciting. So, but I'm not just going to teach you about programs, right? Because although what I did 15 years ago could still be applicable, what I'm going to mainly teach about is how to think about your business. So there will be different call styles. Sometimes it's just going to be me talking. I'm going to try to limit that as much as possible. Sometimes it's going to be discussion format where I'll ask you some questions and wait for some responses. And then there's going to be other calls where it's going to be a working call. I'm actually going to walk you through like how to like strategically plan, for example. And we're going to all work while I'm walking you through how to like break down your goals for example. So it will be helpful for you to be at your computer, have a planner, pen handy, or your laptop, and tucked away somewhere so someone doesn't interrupt you. Okay. So the general outline of each of these calls, just so you know what to expect, is in the group me or in the WhatsApp, excuse me. If I say group me, I mean WhatsApp. So just so you know, like, anyway, in the WhatsApp, every week, I'm going to have you post your high for the week and your low. So I'm going to have you post your high for the week and your low. So, hey, I launched blank amount of people. It was really great. My low is that, one quit right after training or whatever it might be. Now, this is a very different thing than what probably most of you were raised in, because most of vectors, like all focused on like positivity. Let's not talk about any of the negative. But why do y'all think I'd want to have you post your low? And some of we have some people on the call here are going through PBPB a second time. So you guys can chime in too. It's not like you're cheating because you were part of it. But why do you think I'd have you post your low as well as your high? Any thoughts?
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mo, did you unmute first, or is it Joe? Mo or Joe? Mojo. All right.
It's just a way to stay grounded in the business.
Beautiful. I love it. Joe?
Yeah, I feel like when you share it, it's not just in your head, it's out there, and then you want to fix it for next time, so not let it happen again.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Also, sometimes if you ever struggle with something and you keep it all in, as soon as you shine a light on it, that it like disappears, right? So I love that. Any other reason?
How to recognize it, I think is huge, is like being able to realize what the low is so that, like Joe said, to fix it after.
For sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Millie. Anything else? Any other thoughts? Emily?
I put the chat, but I said it's realistic, just being aware of like what you need to work on.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you guys have been posting in the chat and I haven't been looking at it. So thanks for making me aware. Kirsten says a safe space where we have a support system. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Sebastian says it makes it more fair and realistic. It's good to focus on both. And Amy says to have a safe space as well to share with top performers who will lift you up instead of be negative. For sure, all these things. The other thing is, my best friend and I, we talk pretty much every single day through a platform called Marco Polo. It's like basically recordings back and forth. And sometimes you just need a vent to somebody who gets it. Right. And like your spouses or like your family members, like you might have vented to them once or twice. And like they are just like, well, maybe you should find another job, or they like automatically like just push down the vector experience. So it's nice to have a support system that it's like, oh man, that happened to me too. I totally get it. Like hang in there, you'll get it next time. Sometimes you just need somebody who understands. But lastly, when you see somebody else is struggling, but they keep moving forward, that's inspiring, right? So like, hey, I had this happen to me, but I'm doing this to overcome it instead, right? So one of the things that I would love to see in the group me is for you to be supporting each other, right? Like whether it's liking messages or like, you can throw in some inspirational quotes or whatever, but the low and high, we're all going to have lows and we're all going to have highs. And that's the other thing that I just want. It's nobody has a perfect like campaign that where everything is rainbow and sunshine, right? And unicorns. Everybody has lows. And so it's good to see that and know that we're all in it together. So thank you guys for humoring me with some of those ideas. And we don't want too much positivity too, but I also want to see our highs because I want to see who's doing what and what is getting traction, right? Because if your high is like, hey, I launched to like 13 this week, it's like, whoa, okay, well, Hanson, can you tell us what you did this week, right? And he's like, well, so that is definitely why I want to do the highs and lows in the WhatsApp beforehand. I'm going to allow some time for Q&A for anything like good, bad, and the ugly, like anything that's on your mind. But mainly for the content, I'm going to be covering what your mindset should be every week. And then I'm going to cover a weekly topic. And I'm going to give you a chance to work on a few things that could be helpful. And then, of course, the goal is every week that we'll split into groups for discussion. I'm also going to give you a suggested Vector Connect audio every week. Now, this isn't required to listen to, but if you're like somebody who's super hungry to like double, triple, or quadruple your results, this is just only going to help you get better. So I put together some of my favorites. And if there's a Vector Connect audio you absolutely love that I haven't suggested, please send it my way and I can work it in there. So I'll just let you know, some calls, you might get one nugget. Other calls might blow your mind entirely. But every call might not be like earth shattering, but the key is to show up every single week, ready to go. So any questions, comments, concerns before I talk about what I expect from you? Or you could just give me a thumbs up. We're all good? All good in the hood? All right, great. So what I expect from you, one is be on time. I know a few of you texted me this morning saying why you were a little bit later, whatever, and that's fine. So yes, open communication, communicate with me what's going on. Two, what I expect from you is to be in a place where you can take notes, just like you guys are right now. So high five to everyone here. Participate on the calls and the group me. I want you to so this is free to you, right? This is a free program, but I want you to treat this as if you were paying a $2,000 tuition. Like this was a class that you had to pay for. There's plenty of other coaching programs out there that charge way more for a 16-week program. So if you were paying $2,000 to be part of this, how much would you put into it? So because really this program, just like Cutco, is what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So the group chat, I would love to see you guys raise each other up. When we split into groups, So let's say, Haley is talking with Zoe and Zoe shares something. When we come back as a group, like I'm going to ask for any like highlights. If Haley's mind was blown by something Zoe said, I would expect Haley to unmute herself and be like, hey, Zoe shared something really cool. I can either say it or Zoe, do you want to share it? And I would expect for you guys to build each other up because we're in this together. Yeah, you have rivalries and there's competition, but we're really in this together as a group to build each other up. So make sure to help each other as you can, share documents, and obviously give me feedback. You can send it as a text of what you think could work better. I'm always open to suggestions. And I just want you to be honest. If you're not feeling great, that's okay. You don't have to use this group as like a vomiting platform of like, whoa, but you could be like, I'm not feeling great. Like, my team kind of sucks. I'm excited to be on this call as a refresher. And that is what I'm hoping for. Sorry if I scared any of you. That is what I'm hoping for, is that every week you get on this call. It's a refresh for your week. And I could tell you from people who've been on this call before, that's what they have said before. But here's the thing. No matter where you've been at, and no matter where you're starting the fall, I just want to let you know that P-Banquet is totally possible. And the biggest thing I expect from you is to stick with your commitment until the end. You said you want to do this, give it your all, stick with it to the end, because you'll be like one of our past PBPBers. Now, we had 3 last year that had some pretty cool stories. So, and you might not be able to see this very well, so I'll have to decipher it for you. But this is Alex Bowles from the Eastern region. And when you look at this, he had a $150,000 campaign too. He had a $15,000 September. So if we're going to break up P-Banquet, equally, which never happens, by the way, it would be $25K per month, right? So already the first month he's not on track. And then the next month he's at 27,000. So he's now on track, but still behind, right? And then in November he did 44,000. And then in December he did 51. So this is a great example of somebody who kept showing up, kept making the commitment. We also have, Shayla Bowker from the Central region. And you can see here, she had a $200,000 summer. Her September was 4,000. Okay, so definitely not on pace. Her September was 20,000, not on pace. November, 17,000. And she could have been like, you know what? I'm not going to hit it. I should just stop coming to the calls because I'm so far away. But you know what? She made the commitment and she said, I'm going to go after it. And she ended up having a $48,000 December and she hit President's Banquet. So we have Tariq from the Central region, a very similar story. He had a $160,000 summer. His first month, he sold 25,000. So he was on track. But then October, he dipped down to 11. And then November, he dipped down to 6. Man, isn't that like kind of defeating? But he came back with a vengeance and had a $57,000 December. So I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that it doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter what you've done. Basically, if you make the commitment and you put your all in it, whether you win President's Banquet or not, that is what I'm looking for. And I will love you all the more for it if on our last call, your smiling face is on here and you made it through no matter what the CPO shows. So I just will let you know that as we go through these calls, people are going to fall off. You're not going to see, like, we're going to get a smaller group as time goes on, just like the first day of a college course, just like your training class. And part of it is if somebody is constantly not following through with either the action items that I give or not showing up, I'm going to take them out of the group. I have a low tolerance policy because this is like something I'm doing for the love of the game. And so I only want people who are in it to win it. If you're with me, just give me a thumbs up. So beautiful. But if you have to miss a call, just text me like, hey, my DVM, said I have to go here or I'm on a flight or whatever. Like, I would hope that you would try to do your best to make sure that these are your number, like these are undisturbed, but I get it. Life happens. So the total commitment per week is probably 2 to 3 hours with this call being an hour and then some of the things I give you to do. Okay. So if you don't think you'll be able to commit to this, like totally cool. No hard feelings. Just text me and let me know. Like, hey, I actually don't think this is a little too intense for me. And I won't think anything less of you. But if you stick around for like 6 weeks and then you're like, and you start like putting your toe in the water instead of going full in, that's when I'm not gonna love it as much. So all right, so let's talk about them. I do have a little bit of meat for you for the last 15 minutes. So the first thing you need to do for P-Banquet, okay, is you got to imagine it. And for those of you, you've never been to P-Banquet before, so it could be a little bit difficult, but just like what John said, like how many of you have ever had like a big push period where you visualized the end in mind and it kind of happened or came close? How many of you have ever had that before? Beautiful. It's the same thing for President's Banquet. So I just want you to visualize right now, like what would be we get to February when President's Banquet is. Like, how are you going to feel when you see your name on the report that you're a winner? How are you going to feel when you're going down the escalator at the Las Vegas airport and there's a person in a suit holding your name, it has your last name, Mick Hutchinson. Oh my gosh, I should have picked an easier last name. Just kidding, Lindley. But they're holding your name on a sign and you go and you get to have your own private ride. How cool would it be when you get to go to that first night? Like John said, that first night is appetizers. It's kind of like a walking around, like mingling type of scenario. My favorite part of President's Banquet, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but it's the second night when you're in ball gowns and you do the Dom Perignon toast. That's not my favorite part, but my favorite part is when you go take a picture with the president, he shakes your hand and he leaves a chip in there. And it's $100 handshake. So he gives you $100 to go gamble with or cash out, do whatever you would like. But I'll tell you, that first night when you're mixing and mingling with people, some of you have maybe like some vector idols, right? Like that people that you really admire. I remember for me is a guy named Justin Donald. Back in the day, he did the training videos. Drew and Wes have redone the training videos since, so it could be Drew for you guys. But Justin Donald, I watched his videos like every night. So he's like a movie star to me. And when my first President's Banquet, like I got to talk to him, I'm like, hello, Mr. Donald, and he's like, just call me Justin, like, oh, just stop being weird. And it's just really, really cool. So the dinner is probably the best dinner you'll ever have in your entire life. Like your SC2 and SC1 dinners don't even like come close. I remember my first President's Banquet sitting next to Bruce Goodman, and they had these menus printed out just for our group, and it had vector marketing, everything on there, and it had all the different foods on the menu. And I look at Bruce and I'm like, I'm not sure what to order. And he's like, oh, no. You're not ordering everything. You're getting all of this. This is like an 8-course meal. And I was like, holy mackerel, that's pretty cool. One of the common practices, by the way, is take a snapshot of the bill because it is insane. All right, so you got to think about what would be most exciting for you. So let's talk about mindset, because this fall is all about timing. And it's important that you understand the timing of the fall, especially if you're brand new. And so I want to give it a great analogy of a swimmer. Okay, how many of you have any of you done any competitive swimming before, by show of hands? Oh, a couple people, great. All right, so if not, have some of you at least watched some competitive swimming, like Olympics or something like that? Okay, so I want you to imagine, we'll just use a famous name, Michael Phelps, as an Olympic swimmer. You could see he's swimming hard, right? And he gets to the end of his lap and he reaches for the wall. Now, what he'll do is he'll flip underwater and burst and keep going, right? And he's just swimming. And usually at the very end is when he picks up the speed and takes the gold. However, you guys have been swimming. You've already been swimming that first lap. For those of you who are brand new district managers, I know this first lap of the summer has felt tough, and some of you feel exhausted right now. And so you might get to the point where you get to that wall, which is this fall, and you say, oh, I need to take a break. I need to take a breather. And if you're in a race and you stop and take a breather, you're not even getting close to winning, right? You're probably going to be disqualified. So a great example of this is my fall of 2007 when I sold 56,000, right? I remember swimming in the summer, and I got to the wall, and I said, oh, finally the fall, I don't have to work as hard. And I remember my division manager was like, yeah, you should get on campus. And so I did. I did because my division manager told me to. So I showed up to be there, right? Like, you guys know the difference, like showing up with intention and just showing up to be there. And so that's why I only had like 10 campus recruits or like 8 campus recruits for the whole campaign. So although I did work hard over the summer and I wanted a break, what it really did is cripple my business. Because just like in the summer, if you miss that wave of mailers, as some of you realize, like by July, recruiting just kind of takes. And if you don't have your PR system or social media system set up, like, it is really difficult to get recruits. How many of you realize that in July and you're like, oh man, I never want to deal with this again? It's the same thing with the fall. So your fall, especially if you're on campus, you're going to get a spike of recruits. But if you don't get a good system for PRs or social media, it will tank again. So in 2008, what I realized is I needed to take a breather. Like, okay, I do need to take a breather, maybe not a long one. So what I started doing is taking like a day or a weekend where I could have like a little breather break to just go do whatever I did. Like the whole philosophy of like stopping to sharpen my axe so I can do a better job at taking down the tree. Once I had that breather, I set a marker, and my marker was SLC. And that was like my finish line. And I said, okay, so I'm going to go into the fall just like I did with my summer intensity. And for some of you, that might sound like really overwhelming, but trust me, if you do it, then by the time SLC comes around, you're going to have a huge team. You're going to have people who are excited to be part of your organization. You're going to have development that makes it so much easier for the rest of the fall. If you miss this time period in the next 6 weeks, it's going to make the rest of your fall so much harder. And so I took that little breather. It went from a day to a weekend to 4 days, just depending on how much development I had, so I can go all in. Because one of the district managers, he used to be a division manager, he once said, summer is a mentality. Summer is whenever you make it. And so that was definitely true when we had like 30 people at team meetings in the fall. So you have to fight the fall disease. Your mind and your body tells you you need a break. Why? Well, you worked hard this summer. That's one. But secondly, your body is used to a rhythm of ending the summer and going back to school, potentially not working or not working as much. So for 18 or 24 years, your body has been used to the fall kind of slowing down. And that's your body's natural rhythm that you've just gotten into. So you have to fight that mentality and work hard. So, but one of the things that I'm going to have you do from right now until our next call is I want you to think about your vision or your mission statement, and I want you to write it down. So what I want you to do is think about, what are you excited about, right? What are your reasons to work hard? One of the things that you can think about is like, in December, what do I want my office to feel like? What do I want it to look like? If somebody out of the ordinary were to come into my office, like, how would they feel? Like, what kind of energy would they feel? What are we doing? What are we putting up? Kind of like that same type of mentality exercise you've maybe personally used in a push before to help you get through. In fall of 2008, I wasn't looking to break records. I, one, just didn't want the pain of what happened in 2007. Second, I put money down on a bet. It was called Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. And you like put in $500 or something. And if you won President's Banquet, you got your $500 back, plus the rest of the pot was split between the winners. And I'm very frugal. And I was like, I am not losing $500. And third one, my third driving factor, just to be completely vulnerable with you, the year before I went on the company trip, I won every single company trip. I went on the company trip with my deadbeat boyfriend, and we were at the company dinner, and we were sitting across some other DM, and he had looked right at my boyfriend and said, what office do you run? And he's like, oh, I don't run the office, she does. And that just irked me so badly. And so like in fall of 2008, I was like, you know what? Like after this year, like from 2008 to 2009, nobody's ever going to mistake that I don't run the office. Like everybody's going to know who I am. And that was like my mantra. And so, and that might not be the same for you, but you got to think about what is your vision? What are you excited for? For you new managers, you got double monthly bonus. You could be like Drew Frank, where your double monthly bonus is more than what you sold, right? Like you sell like $5,000, you get a double monthly bonus of like 8 or 9 grand, which would be really awesome, and happens a lot. This is like your one fast start. So I want you to write this out, okay? And I want you to send it to me. You don't have to share it with everybody else, but I want you to send it to me. So if you can wave a magic wand, right, with, a little bit of, we're not like, I'm going to sell a bazillion dollars, right? But if you can wave a magic wand, what would your office look like at the end of December? How would you feel? How many people are there? What is the energy like? And so the vision for the fall is what I want you to work on. And we're going to be completing that. And you're going to send it to me before Wednesday night of next week, please. So here's some action items. So I'm going to give you a few action items. One is like, absolutely you got to do. The other ones are kind of like, if you want to take full advantage of this program, I'd recommend doing these. So the first thing I would love for you to do at the end of every call is post your biggest takeaway. So you could either post your biggest takeaway or the biggest thing you're excited about the fall, because I know I didn't offer a whole lot of content. Write out, so the biggest one that I want you to do, and I'll post this in the GroupMe as well, but write out your vision and whys for the fall and send it to me. You can take a picture of it. You can put it on Word document and email it to me, however you want to do. All of you should have my email at this point. So why do you want to hit President's Banquet? These are just kind of like some nice twos, and I'll restructure my action items so you know which ones are nice twos and which ones I absolutely want you to do. So create a locals list, schedule your breather if you haven't already. That is like the 1 to 2 days where you can just go be you, like you're not going to work. I know that sounds really counterintuitive, but and then I would recommend listening to the campus videos sent out by Amanda, Mallory, or Helen. We'll most likely have Helen as a guest speaker over the next couple of weeks, and she's going to ask about that. Now, the audio recommendation for the week, Matthew Kelly, this is one of the things that led me to a great 2008, is I listened to this particular audio, and that's what allowed me to start making a vision for my team. And what's really cool is that it all came true. So anyway, with all that being said, thank you guys for a great first call. Next time, I promise I'll give you a chance to chat and get to know each other. These were just the, here's what to expect and what not to expect. But thank you guys so much. I'll stay on for just a little longer, but I'm so excited to be seeing you guys next Thursday and reading all your visions. So have a fantastic day.